Yeah.
Hello, beautiful people. I'm Yolanda Johnson-Bryant, and you're watching The Other Side of the Dash. Welcome back to the show today. Today I have with me special guest Elissa Gabrielle. Elissa is many things, but today we're going to talk about what she does for the health community. Elissa is soon to be, she is, but she's soon to be officially named Dr. Elissa. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, it is. It's official. It's official. It's
Oh,
Dr.
it's official, Dr. Elissa?
Elisa. Dr. Elisa.
Oh, girl, I am so proud of you. Oh, my goodness. So I'm going to let Elissa introduce herself and tell us what she does and what she's working on right now. So, Lisa, go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Yolanda, and I'm so happy to be here. So, in this capacity of my life, and people are just getting to know who I am in this role. I'm a certified natural health specialist, a certified natural health professional, doctor of naturopathy. And so that is in the alternative health world and the holistic and natural health world. So it's not like an MD, like a physician, it's an ND. So I just want people to be clear on that because we get caught up in titles, and what matters here is the work. And
Right,
I like to call it soul work. And so
right,
most people know me as a publisher and an author and a screenwriter and a whole bunch of other things. But in this capacity, I liken myself to a servant of God, and to do the soul work in our communities. And what led me here was a few things. And back in 2009, my sister Jody was in her 40s, and
right.
she passed away of something bronchial in her sleep.
Mm,
A few years later, we lost, well, my father had a stroke, and then we lost my mom.
mm,
And so, one of the first times in my life that I heard God speak to me so clearly is when He gave me instruction on how to handle my mom and her illness. And
okay.
I'll never forget, it was February 25th, 2011. And my sister, my oldest sister, called me from the hospital, and she was with my mom. And just this doom and gloom came over me. And anybody who knows me knows that that's just not in my character,
Right.
at least publicly. I mean, I have my battles and my issues, and most people call me a wounded healer because I've been able to overcome so much. But when she called and I just felt that doom, I said, Lord, you have to help me get through this. It was only a phone call letting me know that my mom was in the hospital. My
Mm,
mom was a superhero to me and so many others, and she was a trailblazer in the music industry. She had never been sick a day in my life that I ever saw. So I
right.
knew for her to be in the emergency room, something big was going on. And so I grabbed up my husband and my children. We traveled an hour to go see her. And when I saw her in that hospital room, she coughed up blood.
Mm,
And I said, Lord, have mercy. I had never seen anything like this. And my mother, and all she could say was, I need help. I need help. I need help. And that was the beginning of, I want to say, 18-month journey. She ended up having cancer, and it spread
mm,
to her lymph nodes in her brain. And a lot of us are familiar with having people in our lives that have cancer. And so it was around the time that I had been back and forth taking care of her, riding in the back of ambulances because she had a chemo crash. By that time, I had been wearing scarves. I didn't do anything with my hair as I was too busy taking care of her and my family as a wife and a mother and work and everything else.
Now, let me stop you for a minute.
Okay.
So, your mother, as you saw, never seemed to be ill. And
Right.
being that we're coming from a holistic standpoint, were there any indications on how she even got cancer? I know there are many ways that one can get cancer, but sometimes there's something leading to how they got it, whether it's genetics or my mother had brain cancer. She got it from a car accident and a bump on her head. So there's many ways. Do you guys know how she got it?
Well, let me tell you, in retrospect, as Dr. Elissa, I can look back on her life and tell you um, what happened. My mother was a smoker, but my
Okay.
mother also carried grief. And I want to tell you, as
Stress.
a doctor of naturopathy, and she wore it so well. But now in my 40s, and I can look back and I can say I know what happened here. So it was the physiological part of things. You're smoking. Maybe that caused it. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing: the emotion that we carry in
Yes.
our lungs is the emotion of grief.
Yes.
And she had so many things that happened in her life that was triumphant,
Right.
but she had a lot of heartbreaking moments in her life. And so I do believe that contributed to it. So
Okay.
in naturopathy, we do something called triangulation. And
Okay.
so we're able to connect that mind, body, spirit.
Gotcha.
I
Gotcha.
didn't have the information then, and I
Okay.
do have it now.
Okay, so we have the information. We're still not quite sure, but we know there were several factors, and I know for a fact that stress can kill you.
Hmm.
But we're going to come forward. You are wearing headscarves, and you're getting to an epiphany where you're deciding this is what you want to do. So go ahead and continue that.
Well, at the time, I didn't know. I was wearing these scarves and they were very fashionable, and I just didn't have time to really take care of myself. And I was in the restroom at the emergency room, and my scarf slipped off and my hair was gone.
Mm,
I mean, to tell you, like in the temples and in the top, the hair was gone. So, God, what happened? So, in between getting her settled and trying to just navigate my life through that period, I went to see doctors, and a total of 5 doctors. And they gave me all types of diagnoses from uh, female pattern hair loss and alopecia and stress, and you're just going bald. And I said, not in my mid 30s. It's just not, possible.
right,
I don't even
right.
have a history of this. And so it was just doom and gloom from those 5 doctors. And so that's when I went on my own journey to try to regrow my hair. It was trial and error, and it took a few years to really get it to grow back. Still have one part that gives me trouble, but it's miraculous. I mean, I had the whole George Jefferson, and then I shaved it off because she was going through chemo. She didn't have hair. I said, I got to do this part with
For
her.
her, right.
And so, yeah, so that's where Elissa Gabrielle Naturals was birthed. It was born out of my pain.
So I want the audience to know that Elissa and I go way back to the publishing side of her life. But
Mhm.
even so, in the naturals, it's funny when you come across the path of someone, you never know where that path is going to lead you. So years ago, I don't even remember what year it was, Elissa, that you and I talked, and I expressed the same concerns that I had for my hair. And it was even so then, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even longer, that you started talking to me about it, and you start giving me suggestions on that, and not just that, other things. So now we have Elissa Naturals being born.
Mhm.
So first, let's talk about what Elissa Naturals is and what it offers.
Okay, so Elissa Gabrielle Naturals is ever evolving at this point. And so let me show you something. Whenever somebody orders something from Elissa Gabrielle Naturals, they get this card. And on this card, I talk about the journey with me and my mom and how my hair fell out. And I said, your suffering is not in vain. You are not alone. Help is here. Because I went through that experience with 5 doctors and there was no recourse for my hair, I wanted to let anybody know, everybody who glanced upon this, who took the risk to order, who were able to face the mirror and say, I got to do something about this. I wanted them to know that help is here because I've been through this. So it's not gimmicky, this is real life.
Right.
Right now, Elissa Gabrielle Naturals provides a hair serum, and I have that here. And
Okay.
this is for those really stubborn spots that just refuse to grow in. And
Okay.
you take a drop of this and you just massage it in those areas that are giving you so much trouble.
Okay.
And then we have the follicle stimulating cream. And you follow up with that and you take this and you massage this in.
Okay.
Now, these ingredients here is carefully crafted. I know what every ingredient in here does for your scalp and your hair
Right.
and how to revive those hair follicles.
Okay. Okay.
And we also have the hair, skin, and nails formula. And it has some immune boosting components in this because of the world we're living in now.
Are they vitamins?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
Great.
And one of the things that I love about this is that we have some things in here that make sense for our bodies, like amla fruit, and we have ginger, and we have B12, and we have vitamin C, and we need all of this right now because, with the planet is just not healthy.
Right. It is not.
So not only will you help to revive your hair and grow your hair, you will strengthen your immune system because it's just not hair, skin, and nails. Even on the bottle, it says it's a proprietary blend. And so I added some extra things in here just for protection, just the
Okay,
immune
gotcha,
support,
gotcha.
right? And then the other thing that we have, and I don't have it here, is a fibroid detox tea. It's like
Okay.
a female tonic. So in our community, Black women overwhelmingly are getting fibroids and we are pushed to hysterectomies. Now, again, I'm
Yes.
not a medical doctor, but I was diagnosed with having a fibroid. I knew what to put together to get that fibroid to dissolve. And most people don't have the information. And that's what I love about what God has called me to do, is that we have information now. So
Right,
if you
right.
have heavy menstrual cycle, you have heavy clotting, you have fibroids, you have PCOS, you have so many things that you're dealing with in your reproductive organs, that tea, along with some good coaching holistically, will help you to deal with that monthly in a much better way than uh, surgery should be a last alternative. And this will help you to get through each month a little bit better.
And I'm glad you said that. You mentioned coaching along with the tea and coaching. You already know that I am also a person who suffers from severe um, fibroids, in addition to having anemia and them throwing around the cancer word every now and then because I bleed so much and my clots are so big. And I was scheduled for a hysterectomy, but I've moved from North Carolina to Texas, so I had to reschedule, and I've not rescheduled it yet. So, and we're going to get into that in a minute on how the first thing they offer is either a pill or surgery. So, when you mention coaching with the T, what
Mm-hmm.
we don't think is that we uh, non-subconsciously or mentally put things in our body and we don't think what they do to our body. Now, one of
Right.
the things I know that I'm guilty of, Elissa, is look, this girl loves her coffee. I don't drink a whole lot of alcohol. I don't smoke, but I cannot function without my coffee. And I know that it's irritating it. So I'm trying to find ways to substitute that. So the coaching, if I'm correct, and you can come in after me and correct me or,
Mhm.
add on, is helping people get that mind right because there are probably certain things in certain foods that are probably triggering, probably stress is triggering, because I know stress has been my biggest thing. That's where
Mhm.
most of my illnesses have come from is stress.
Yes,
So
yes.
go ahead and explain how that coaching helps clients.
Mhm. So, as a naturopath and a certified master life coach and a whole bunch of other things, I help you connect the dots. So, one of those dots is when it's relative to fibroids, is what we eat and what we do and what we think. So, if you think about it, what's feeding that fibroid? It's hormones, right? Maybe you're estrogen dominant. Maybe your testosterone and your progesterone and other things hormonally are off balance, right? So we are eating meat. We are eating the hormones of another animal. Don't you think that might be feeding the fibroids?
Right, right,
Right. So what we need to do is cleanse our bodies of that animal flesh. In my opinion and in my experience, that has helped my clients with dealing with fibroids. So we cleanse and we nourish the wound with that tea. But we also cleanse and nourish our bodies by leaving meat alone for a little while, and we eat raw life, fruits, vegetables. We get those natural enzymes. We may throw another type of detox in there. So then you're flushing all of that out of your bodies. But most people don't think, okay, well, I'm eating meat and that is feeding the fibroid. We don't think that. And then we triangulate. You're anemic. Well, that blood has to go to that fibroid to keep that fibroid alive.
right.
That's why you're anemic. Okay, so then we do a whole thing on you, and then you end up eating better, you move differently, you do some meditation. I'm also a Reiki level 2, so we do some energy clearing and we get those blockages out. It's really about the mind, body, spirit approach.
Right.
You have to change the way that you think. And my slogan for the Dr. Elissa is transform your thinking to transform your life. So
Okay.
you really have to transform how you think about life and your health. You have to do a lot of unpacking because we have been programmed to think, what is healthy? Healthy is being this big, razor thin, starving yourself and going to the gym to meet some type of idealistic standards that we were never meant to meet.
Right.
So when we're teaching about health, we talk about your GFR and we talk about how your kidneys function and your glucose and how much sugar that your body is producing, and your insulin resistance and your blood pressure. So we're not talking about, okay, you have to be razor thin and go beat yourself up and go feel bad about your body. It's like, no, we need to talk about what's going on internally and we want to find balance there. So that's why it's a mind, body, spirit approach. It has to be.
It does. It does. Your thinking, your stinking thinking kind of has to change. Your mentality has to change in order for that to change.
But we have to have the right information.
Exactly. The right information. You know, Elissa, this is it's not really off topic. It's funny. I see people spend so much time, and not saying everything on the internet is true, but
Right.
you still are able to arm yourself with some information to ask the people or the powers that be the right questions. And we spend so much time on the internet, worry about what's happening in someone else's drama, a TV show, you know, other people, pictures of cats, and we don't use that to, okay, it may not all be true, but okay, this is going to have me question what's going on in my life and why I'm going through this, which leads me to the point you and I were talking about before. So you know that I am type 2 diabetic. I'm supposedly in remission.
Yes.
And Elissa, there was a time when I was on for just the diabetes alone. Now, look, I plead the blood of Jesus. I don't claim it, but this is what the doctors say. I have diabetes. I've had a stroke. I've had 2 heart attacks. I have high cholesterol. I have fibromyalgia and I have arthritis and I'm anemic. And I'm sure it's something I forgot. So let's just go with the diabetes alone.
Okay.
I was on 3 insulins at one time and 3 oral medications. I was on a statin for my high cholesterol. We're
Wow.
just going to stop there. So in our conversation, I mentioned that, especially women of color, we will go to the doctor and maybe they don't care about us. Maybe they do. Maybe they just don't know. They're not used to it. Whatever the case, or they're not experienced in it. Let's put it this way. And they're quick to throw you a pill. Well, here's a pill to fix this. Here's an insulin to fix that. And I'll tell you, the doctor before the last one I had to fire him because we're going in and I'm talking to him and telling him the insulins are not working. His comment to me was, you need to stop drinking soda. Elissa, you know my husband, and he will tell you, since we've been together, I may have had a 7-Up every now and, or not 7-Up, ginger ale every night. We don't drink soda around here. We don't do that. And he kept saying, well, you got to stop drinking soda. I said, sir, I don't drink soda. I said, so something else is going on. And so he said, well, we'll send you to see a nutritionist. He sent me to see a nutritionist, and she put me on this diet. Now, the diet was 45 carbs in the morning, 45 carbs in the afternoon, and 45 in the evening, with 15 twice a day for snacks. And I thought to myself, that's quite a lot of carbs. And so I started reading and had questions to ask him, and I took questions back to him, and he didn't like the fact that I was challenging his treatment for me. And he came back at me with this same thing. You need to stop drinking soda. I was livid. You know, I went off, right? You know, I went off. So I ended up firing him. So I got with another doctor, a female, and she wasn't a woman of color. Unfortunately, it's just so hard to find people that look like me to treat me. So I went to a woman, and she was a little bit better. She listened to what I had to say. And I just basically, through talking to you, other people, and doing my research, I said, you know what? The insulin stops today. My husband will tell you, I stopped the in. He goes, I don't know if you should do that all at one time. Look, I'm not a doctor. Elissa has said she's not a medical doctor, and you do what do you, boo. But what I did that day, I said no more insulin, because the insulin pills were making me sicker than I was. I couldn't even work. I couldn't function. I was in bed. I was just like, I was near the brink of death. So I said, today, no more insulin, no more pills, no more. And I stopped. And so now a lot of people may not agree with this, but I will say it worked for me. You can't tell now because I've been moving and I've been stressed out, but it's coming back full circle. I started keto. I'm not sure how you feel about that, but I started keto. And keto, one thing about a diabetic needs, a lot of people think, well, if you eat that sugar, stop eating the sweets and you won't get fat. And so people are so ignorant to diabetes. It's not just about that. Anything that you eat that turns to carbs is going to turn into sugars in your system and throw off your insulin imbalance. So what I realized is he sent me to a nutritionist who gave me all these carbs, and they're killing me along with the medication. So I stopped everything. I lowered my carbs. I lost a lot of weight. I felt better than I had in a long time. So let's talk about your feelings on, I didn't mean to go off into a tangent, but
no, that's okay.
Let's talk about your feelings as to how we as women of color, that are the ones of us that are not armed with the information now, who will go into a doctor's office and have them say, here's a pill, call me in the morning. And we take that pill expecting things to change.
Right. Yeah. Well, listen, I commend you on what you were able to do. I remember your journey with having type 2 diabetes and some of the other things that you are temporarily dealing with.
Right.
And I remember, I think we were in Journey to Wellness, and you said, look, I am in remission, which was really great. And that's because you were your own best advocate, and you found the information and you talked to people who had information.
Right.
And so that's my biggest thing. Those doctors are doing what they are trained to do, and that's trained to treat your symptoms. What a naturopath does, and I think people should have both a primary and a naturopath. What we do, we can't prescribe medications or anything like that, but we want to deal with your wellness. And so wellness for you looks like not having type 2 diabetes. So we would focus on wellness and educate you on how to not have those insulin resistant moments and those high glucose levels and those A1Cs that are out of control. The biggest thing I can tell you is that you have to be your own best advocate, just like you did in your case. It means researching. This means talking to someone like me. It means joining groups of people that are like-minded in situations like you, so you can learn the information. It's so funny, whenever I go see a new doctor or go see my primary, they're always interested in seeing what my glucose number is. And, you know, it's some people know I've lost 105 pounds. I want to lose another 20. And they look at me and they say, well, are you a diabetic? How much insulin are you shooting? And I said, no, take a look at my last glucose. So they're expecting those numbers to be crazy. but my last fasting glucose was 80. So it's like, bloop,
Right,
I
right,
just say,
right, right.
we know how to deal with this now. One thing that I will say, and I will go back, and I'm not a vegan and I'm not a vegetarian. I eat a little bit of everything that I want, and I would hate to use the word
Moderation. Hmm.
moderation, but
Hmm.
because we overuse that word. But if you reduce the amount of meat that you're eating, we don't connect meat to type 2 diabetes, but it's true.
Right,
So if
right,
you reduce the amount of meat you're eating, you're going to see in most cases that those numbers will start to decline as well. It's not just sugar. Let me tell you something. We
hmm,
have some artificial sweeteners on the market. And I want to be careful with my words here because this country does not like naturopaths. But there are some artificial sweeteners on the market that will actually affect your insulin and your glucose in a negative way.
well, I'll
But
say it,
they're
they're poison.
so listen, I just want to be careful. What I will say though is that reach out to people like me if you need help. Do your research. Just type in natural ways to deal with type 2 diabetes. And this does not mean to not take the medicine that your doctor has provided. It just means now you know that you have to be totally concerned
Right,
with your wellness, the
right,
same as you did. And we've talked about this. You did the work, you don't have to deal with things in that way. And I want to
right,
help you on those other things too, because we can get control over all of this.
right,
So be your own best advocate. That's exactly what I did for my own life. And I was able to really heal myself of things that had been brewing in my own body
right,
just by doing the work and studying. I've been studying this for the last 8 years, so we have so much information. But go seek alternative help without abandoning your doctor, because that would be irresponsible. But seek the alternative help because there's some wonderful things out there that will make you feel good and whole as a person. Do the body work.
right,
Do take, the self-care is really important. The body work is important. The spiritual aspect of your life is really important. That's why that mind, body, spirit connection is paramount. It really is. Oh, in regards to your coffee drinking, listen, I love coffee, but I want to tell you that it's acid.
I
It's
know,
so
I
acidic
know.
and it does not give you energy. That's false.
It brings me up, but it drops me right back down.
It
Yes.
drops you so low. So
Now
yeah.
I want to mention that Elissa is the owner of a Facebook group called Journey to Wellness. And in it, she gives several helpful tips, articles, suggestions. So when we go back to the holistic approach, when I think of holistic, I'm thinking of natural. And there's certain things, if you think about it, that might help a situation. Again, I'm not condoning anything for anybody else but me. But if you look at things. So for example, let's talk about things we talked about in the group, which have been things like black seed oil, apple cider vinegar, those types of things. Now think about it. So apple cider vinegar has many uses. I mean, many uses. It's almost like baking soda.
Mhm,
Um, you can, do your hair with it. But as far as health to our body,
mhm.
it's an appetite suppressant. It helps you lose weight. It
Right.
helps with heartburn. It helps lower blood sugar. So I'm
Mhm,
thinking to myself, if that helps naturally, and you're taking a pill for cholesterol, you're taking a pill for heartburn, and you think about all those, and I want to tread lightly now, those FDA approved ingredients that are in these medications that could kill you eventually or cause another chain reaction. See, one thing that people need to understand was as far as diabetes is concerned, it causes a domino effect. You have diabetes, it may cause liver damage, it may cause kidney failure, it may
mhm.
cause amputation, nerve damage, or whatever. So you think about all these ingredients. That you're putting in your body, you got to start thinking more naturally. And I know you live by that black seed oil. Tell us what that does.
Black seed oil is so good for so many reasons, and I do take it every day. I take it It also has the garlic, the olive leaf extract, and ginger, the one that I take. I take it because it is an antifungal, it is an antiviral, it is good for blood sugar, it is good for cholesterol, it is good for hair growth. When you lose your hair, if you're not taking the capsule, but you actually have the oil, it is good as a hair conditioner. It has
It
so many
is. Yes,
wonderful
yes,
uses.
yes.
And I love it with the garlic and the ginger and the olive leaf because the ginger is soothing for digestive issues. The garlic is a natural antibiotic. Olive leaf extract is really good uh, for, let's say, if you have cold sores, which many people get. It's a great antiviral in that aspect. And so I just take it with the combination and I do that every day. I swear by it for my life.
Right.
And so far, I've been okay. And that's the reason I take the combination of it. It has done my body very well.
Good. And you're looking great, Alicia. Not that you didn't
Oh,
look great before. You've always been a beautiful woman, but you're looking
thank
great.
you.
I follow your journey and see what you're doing. And one thing I do like about you, Elisa, is that, and I'm not just saying this, because
Mhm.
if anybody know me, I'm gonna tell you like it is.
Yes.
But one thing I like about you is a lot of people will push stuff on you to make a sale, to they start this product, they want to sell Amway or whatever the case, Herbalife or whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm like this. If you're going to sell me a weight loss product and you started out at 300 pounds and you are still at 300 pounds, don't try to sell me anything. One thing I have noticed about Elissa Gabrielle, she is on that journey, y'all. She, like she said, she
Mhm.
lost 100 pounds and was it 100?
105.
105 pounds. Alyssa, you can see her working out. And
Mhm.
she's still fat. She does the self-care. Um, her and her husband, her and her family, she still takes time. And I see this and she shows this. And that's one of the reasons why I believe in what she does, because like I said, there are people who will tell you, buy this pill. Oh, and they'll be all excited. This will do this for you, but you don't see them using it. So if
Mhm.
it's not good enough for you to use, it's certainly not good enough for me to use. So I do appreciate you for doing that. And I do appreciate you being on the show, Elisa. Um,
Yeah.
you've given us a lot to think about. Do you have any last minute tidbits or anything that you want to say?
Well, just a repeat of what I said earlier is to be your own best advocate.
Mm-hmm.
If something doesn't feel right, energy is really real. And one of the things that we do in Reiki and chakra balancing and even in your body work and the reflexology is that we deal in energy. And some people might call that intuition. Some people may call it the Holy Spirit. Whatever you call it, don't ignore it. If something doesn't feel right, it doesn't sit right with you, you have to act on it and do something about it. I would invite everybody to join us in Journey to Total Wellness on Facebook. You can even reach out to me because I'm taking clients. I see clients
That was
at
my
a
next question.
location. Yeah,
Okay, good.
I can do virtual visits with you, and then you can actually come into the office and see me. We'll do, some energy clearing. We'll do some reflexology. We'll put you on a wellness plan. You'll be on my plan for 90 days and then you graduate. And it's a really, really good intensive thing because I do the work with you. And then I do life coaching as well. So I have some clients that not only need life coaching to learn how to put themselves on a list and get through life in a more fundamental way, but then they also take on the natural health part. So I have clients that do both, but
Okay.
I can teach you how to be on your own to-do list. And you'll start at what you feel is your rock bottom. And then we do that crescendo. And then you end up soaring.
Right.
Yeah, you end up soaring. So you can reach out to me. The website isn't up quite yet, but just Google Elissa Gabrielle. You can also email me at Dr. Elissa Gabrielle Peterson at gmail.com. It's the DR, Elissa Gabrielle Peterson at Gmail. I'll be happy to help if I can in the
If you
best ways
can,
that I
right.
know how. Yeah.
Look, don't be bombarding her with I need this, I need that. Y'all know how it works. But as it pertains to the other side of the dash,
Mhm.
Elissa has not reached that point yet, but for us women, and you guys know I'm an advocate for women over 50 who are on the other side of our dash, we really, really need to sit back because so many things are happening in this world, and our health is the last thing that we need to be worried about. I have a granddaughter that I'm raising, and I want to be here to see
Yeah.
her graduate high school, college,
Yeah.
get married, have kids, and be successful.
Yes.
So, I love it that you say be an advocate for your own health. And
Yeah.
if that means researching, don't take everything. If you don't feel comfortable, because a lot of people, if they're uncomfortable, they won't ask any questions. Uh,
Right.
Ask those uncomfortable questions. This is your health, because once you die, that doctor is still going to go on to see more patients. So you have to care about yourself enough to say, wait a minute, this doesn't sound right, or wait a minute, I don't understand this. So please explain it to me so that I understand, so that at this point, if I decide to keep you, that we can together make a decision that's going to be better for me. So I do like that that is one of your slogans. I love it. Elissa, I love you and I thank you for being here. And I just wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And thank you for providing this platform so that women can understand the importance of self-care.
Of self-care. And maybe I'll
Yeah.
have you back on another time and we can talk about all the things that you can do and what self-care actually looks like. So we'll talk
Yes.
about that in another one, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you
Thank
have a great
you.
day and thanks again. I really appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye-bye.